I thought you lost weight.
I'm gonna get a new one. Young dude there, man. You can see them fine print. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome again to another Friday night at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. My name is Elder Freddie, and I'm joined tonight by my sister. If you could just introduce yourself. Priest Doreen?
Hi, my name is Priest Doreen, and I'm excited to be here tonight, here at headquarters in Toronto, Canada.
Mm-hmm. And also?
My name is Priest Tyrone, and I'm at Toronto head office.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Just want to welcome everybody here to another Friday night Bible study with the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Again, we are joining you via this online, via podcast, as we're doing it live. Due to the fact of this pandemic that we're in right now, we just want to take the time to welcome everybody and to let everyone know from the get-go the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries is not affiliated with any other group, camp, organization bearing a similar name or name that comes off sounding like us. We are the only Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. This is our headquarter branch that we're broadcasting to you from right now. And we are here basically to bring forth our doctrine and to teach what we do. We welcome all nations, regardless of who you are, where you're from. We are here to teach about the glory of our Father. We're to teach about what we've learned through these scriptures. What we're going to do tonight, we have a topic and a subject matter that we're going to address. However, we feel that just because of the tension, the environment and the atmosphere of what's been taking place, it is something that we feel deeply connected to, something that we want to, at this moment in time, just to speak on somewhat, because we do have some sort of an insight to the situation and the environment and what we're seeing out there currently right now with all the rioting that's taking place, due to the fact that it was a crime that was actually committed in front of everybody, and we all saw what took place. It's traumatic. It's very, very horrific. It's very disgusting what we've seen, what we experienced, and it's something that we definitely have to speak about because of the fact of who we are. We are descendants of Jacob. We're the children of Jacob. We're the children of Israel. So this is something that it's close to us.
Yeah.
You know?
When we say the children of Jacob, Elder Freddie, just for those who may not know, we're talking about the people that look like us. You were chosen You're Israelites because you're called out. And I'm sure you're referring to George Floyd, what happened this past week, this past Monday. And I have to say, my goodness, the whole country, the whole world should be in disarray. We understand, we connect. To see a grown man, 46 years old, crying out for mama, mama, that has to do something to you. As an Israelite that reads this Bible, every time a king is mentioned, or a prophet is mentioned, or one of our forefathers is mentioned, the mother is mentioned. Usually you hear, children crying out for mothers, but a grown man, handcuffed, on his belly, crying out for mama. If that doesn't do something to you, my goodness.
Absolutely, and I couldn't agree more, Priest Doreen and Elder Freddie. It's a very touching time, and it's a time where it's caused a lot of disgust amongst what we will call the black community today. And just if I could further add to Priest Doreen and yourself, in terms of the children of Jacob, being those of the children of Israel, the children of slavery that was taken on ships from the west coast of Africa and brought into America, even being the new Egypt. So that's who you are, and that's who we identify ourselves as being, those people that were taken from that land. But who are we as the children of Israel? And we've been treated really harshly, and we want to always keep our sensitivity about us. It's a very touching moment when you saw a fully grown man, and I don't want to ever want to experience my son or my daughter or my child on their stomach with a knee in their neck.
Right.
And even if I may, even more so on the anniversary of his mother's death. And that's even more heart-wrenching and gut-wrenching when you hear he's calling for his mother, but his mother can't even help him at that moment. And it's a very, very sad state of affairs that's taken place, and we are deeply, moved by what's been taking place by this man's death, for sure.
We definitely feel, because we could look out and say this is our people.
Yeah.
This is something that happens to our people on a daily basis. It's not a situation where it's isolated. It's not something that just happens, randomly. I mean, these things are, it's a consistent theme. It's a consistent narrative that just continues to happen and continues to play itself out. Now, as we are Israelites, now we understand what most of our people don't understand.
Right.
And that is that what we see, and when we see these things happen to our people, it pulls at our heart, but at the same time we know and understand that there is a root to how these things happen. It just doesn't happen for no reason at all. There is a root, there is a stem, it is deeply connected to who we are as a people. And what some people might not realize is that it has nothing to do with our skin color.
No, not at all.
Absolutely
Not at all.
nothing to do with our skin color.
Yeah.
This is of a spiritual nature.
Yes.
It is of a spiritual origin. Why we go through these things, why we see things like what took place. Coincidentally enough, our elder Shadrach had a posting on our YouTube channel
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
of a speech that elder did, and this speech was done in 1992.
Yeah.
Yep.
1992, which is
Almost
like 28
28 years.
28 years.
almost 30 years ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the very same things that our elder spoke about and addressed in this speech.
Yep.
This speech was done during a Black History Month event.
Right.
The very same things. That was the same year, I believe, the Rodney King beating.
Oh, wow.
So I believe that it took place around that same time.
Yep.
So that was our first glimpse into something that happened on a daily basis that people saw for the first time. So you fast forward now and to see that it is still taking place, but people really and truly don't understand the root cause of it.
Right.
And they'll look to things like trying to find political answers, trying to find economic answers, and trying to see how we can be unified, but none of it seems to work because you're still not addressing the root cause.
It's funny you say that because, you know, in 1992, we didn't have the smartphones to pull out and film.
Right.
And we would talk about it amongst ourselves in our community. And you had to wait for 6 o'clock news to go home and watch it on TV and see the Rodney King beating. And people didn't believe our community, right?
Right.
We said, this is happening to us. Believe us. You know what I mean? Now we have it. It's all over the internet. You can see it all over the world. But my thing about seeing it on the internet, yes, like, share, comment, bring more awareness to it, fine. But for me, what gives me rage and I'm bubbling up even just thinking about it is the fact that we live in moments, like you're saying, right? We don't understand the root of it.
Right.
This happens today to George Floyd. It happened to Facel Castile. It happened to Breonna Taylor. It happened to Ahmaud. And the list goes on. Eric Garner. Like the list goes on and on and on. When he was saying, I can't breathe, my gosh, if you didn't flash back to Eric Garner, then what the heck?
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that because each of those times, there's been some kind of a proof that look what's happening to our people.
Right.
And it's been brought to the world stage. But why does it keep on happening? It's not stopping. Like, if this happened to another nation or race, it'll be happening like that person be in jail immediately. Things would be happening so quickly. There won't be no riots.
Right.
There'll be no looting.
But
there'll be
my
no
thing
burning
is,
down, but
even when those things happen, it's in the moment. We get angry in the moment,
Right.
and then we go home and we're
we forget
comfortable
about it.
again.
Right.
And what's the root of it? Like you're saying, what's the root? What's the
And-
source of this issue?
And for us, being who we are as practicing Israelites, one of the worst things that we see that it just, I don't know if it's even, to me, it's even worse than the incident itself. And that's when our people, they turn to Christianity. They turn to Christianity. And the first thing they start to do is they worship a strange God, thinking that God will bring the solutions to the problem. And that is the very root cause of the problem. It's because we have all these years we've been turning to and worshiping a strange God. And because of those actions, our Father said that He would allow these things to happen to us. As a matter of fact, He commissioned these things to happen to us. So that to me is the real, I mean, you're in the person's land that they've captured. You go and worship their God, and things happen to you. Although we were forced to, now at this time, at this set time, we should have enough knowledge to know, even if you're not an Israelite, you should have enough knowledge to know that something is wrong, something is strange going on. I think we're the only people on the planet who worship and serve a God that looks nothing like us.
That's right. That's right.
Looks nothing like us. Like everyone worships a God that looks like them.
Right.
And like you said earlier, it's not even about the color thing, right? So before we got to the ship, it was always with our God, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. I'm going to punish you for your disobedience because you went to worship another God.
Right.
And it happened for years and years and years. Then we get to the slave ship. They give you Christianity. They change your name. You come here, you pick up a God that doesn't look like you, and you're in their kitchen serving massa. You take on their religion, that's become your massa. Christianity's become your massa. You go on television, what are you wearing? Wood and stone.
Wood and stone. The cross.
The cross, which is not your symbol. Worshiping massa. How do you expect for a God that doesn't look like you to answer your prayers?
Why would He?
He wouldn't.
Why would that God answer your prayers?
It's like a stepchild.
Why would that?
A stepchild.
You are a slave to that God.
That's it.
You will always be a slave and a servant to that God.
That God has His people that are supposed to serve Him. You are not supposed to. And I think that's my frustration in this whole thing, is because you're going to hear them start singing, "We shall overcome." They're going to start
we
singing.
shall not be moved.
They're going to be
They
singing.
will fill up the shrine come Sunday morning by the thousands.
And
worshiping God that doesn't look like them. And this is my thing. You go there every Sunday, and you go and you listen to the man at the pulpit, and you're crying out, and you've been praying to this God that doesn't look like you for years, because all these atrocities have been happening for years.
Right.
There's been no answer.
Yeah.
Why do you still keep going there? That's the definition, the very definition of insanity.
It is. What gets me is that we've all had this experience, and all of us who are Israelites, who started to practice being Israelites, the first thing that you want to do is you want to share this good news, this gospel. You want to share what you found out with the people you love the most.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's your family, the people that are closest to you.
Yep.
You want to bring this news to them.
That's right.
And what you do is you take your Bible and you say, look, see, it says right
there.
here. It's in black and white.
Yeah.
It says Israelites. It says we are Israelites. Look.
Yep.
And the first thing they do is they argue with you.
Yeah.
They tell you that's not what my pastor said,
They fight with you.
without having read it for themselves. Oh, it's ridiculous.
It is the most frustrating thing to ever witness. That
To tell your own
to
people
tell your own.
that they are special.
Yes.
Do you believe that you are special, that you could be chosen?
Yeah.
And this
No,
is,
that's how sick we are.
This is the effects of so much that's happened to our people over the years. But nevertheless, we've heard elders speak about this, like you said, Elder Freddie, from 1992, where they threw stones at him. And they
would spit
scolded
at him.
And they spit at him.
Yeah.
And he's bringing this message, look, guys, this is who you are. Don't serve, like you said, this strange God of wood and stone that doesn't care for you.
Right.
He doesn't want you. Look, he's blessing his children, but why are you suffering still?
You still see the same behaviors then,
Yeah.
today now, with them going to a God that doesn't look like them, and then you talking about elder, when he first started teaching,
Yeah, that's right.
it wasn't the people that looked like him that first heard his message,
No.
right? It was Elder Castrilli,
That's right.
an Italian man.
That's right. For a number of years.
The scriptures are so consistent.
Very
You see, I always make the statement that the only way you could actually truly understand this Bible is when you put yourself in here.
Amen.
When you place yourself in there where you're supposed to be, you get a real feeling as to how the people are today. Because the same reactions that you get from bringing the truth, it's the same reactions our foreparents, our forefathers show to the people, the people of God. That people, they are the people of God, but yet you would have a prophet. You would have somebody who would be sent to the people to teach them, and they get the same reaction that we get today. It's the reaction that I don't want to hear what you're saying. I don't want to hear you're saying, and not realizing that is the exact reason why we're in the situation that we are today.
That's right, absolutely. I mean, I'm just taking that right back to the book of Jeremiah, where poor Jeremiah, he's going there and he's teaching, he's telling them about, look, don't worship these other gods of wood and stone. Don't worship the Queen of Heaven. Don't break bread unto her. Sunday mornings, like you said, they're going to be taking the Holy Communion. They're going to be breaking bread and drinking wine at their altar unto this strange God. Don't do that. And guess what the people turn and say? We will do what we want to do. We hear you, Jeremiah. We know you, but we want to do what we want to do.
It's a disgusting behavior.
Really disgusting.
Well, it's funny because when you say
disobedience.
a lot of times, even too, you get another reaction where it's not. This book is not for me.
Right.
So when you were saying place yourself here, you really have to, because there's a disconnect, right?
There is.
And that's been brought up. That was part of the slavery punishment, right? To remove you from the Bible and yourself from here. So when you read, you really do have to read and look up and say, what people on earth behave like this? Who are these people? It's clear as day. We match the characteristics of these people.
There's no denying it. You can't look away from it. It's like how the entire world right now, all their eyes are on the children of Jacob.
That's right.
Always their eyes are focused on the children of Jacob. Some of them know who we are. Most of them don't know.
Right.
But people are waiting for us. As a matter of fact, they're waiting for us to let go of Pharaoh. It's not a situation where Pharaoh, please let our people go. No, Pharaoh wants you to let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let him go
Yeah.
and become who you're supposed to be. Like, we are not supposed to be anything else but the servants of the Most High God of
Amen.
Israel. That's what we were placed on this earth to do.
Yes.
We are not supposed to do pretty much anything else other than that.
Right.
That is your objective. That is the reason for your being.
right.
We're supposed to set the example of how to serve our God,
Yeah.
not how to serve other people's gods.
You know, it's funny because we're given all these things, the other God, the pagan holidays.
Yep.
You know, they give you all these trills and trinkets, you know what I mean, to keep you removed. And you're like, well, what the heck is this, man? I can't seem to find myself.
Right.
Like, why are we serving these other gods?
You know, even if I can answer that, it's purely because of what they receive. You know, if we look at the children of Jacob, they like shiny things. They like the gold, they like the bling,
Yeah.
they like the nice flashy cars, they like showing off. And you can see it just looking at all over Instagram and Facebook, throwing money up in the air. That's what it is, because they stay consistent to worshiping another God. And he does bless them to keep them there, you know, keep them hushed so that they'll never know who they are. Why? Because I want their soul. I need their soul, because he knows, as you said, Elder Freddie, who we are. They know who we are.
Right.
And if
Yeah.
we can have them, we're the prize.
Right.
Yeah.
We're the prize everybody wants.
Yeah,
You
they
know
want
what? And
all
it's-
of our gold
Yeah.
from
Right.
us, but then yet we're still the byword and a shaking of the head.
That's right.
You know what,
It's
though?
sick.
And there's nothing wrong, too, with having material wealth. There's nothing wrong with having the
Nothing
gold and
wrong.
all. There's nothing
Nothing
wrong
wrong
with
with
any of that at all. But it's when your priorities get, like, mixed up.
Yeah.
When you put all that in front of who you're actually supposed to serve
Right.
and who you're supposed to be,
Yeah.
that's when things get out of whack. Because that's when,
Yeah.
in the blink of an eye, you're serving another God. And,
Yeah.
and you're not even aware
It's never
of
been-
what it is you're doing, but
Yeah.
you're serving another God by putting all these material objects and all this material wealth
Yep.
in front of the God of Israel.
That's right.
So
All these objects, and then the kicker they give you is the color, the skin thing.
Yeah.
It's never been about the color,
No,
man.
no.
Always been about what God you serve.
You said
It is.
That's it.
And that is hard to wrap your
It's
head
hard.
around.
You-
Very easier said than
yeah,
done.
it's funny you
know?
say that, because when we find out that the Egyptians were black,
A lot of people
the Canaanites
Like,
were black.
black.
The
Can I ask-
Jebusites,
what-
the Hittites, the Syrians, the Babylonians,
Yeah.
the Ethiopians,
Everybody.
that everybody in here is black.
Yeah.
Except for the people that were cursed with leprosy,
Yeah.
and of course the Gentiles that came into the picture. But everyone else is black.
Yeah.
So it has nothing to do with the skin color, because all these other nations that were around us, they all had their own gods.
That's right.
They
That's
all had
right.
their own gods.
That's right.
It was all about serving your
Your
God.
God.
right.
That's right.
And doing what you're supposed to do,
That's right.
Israel. Leave the other gods alone and serve your God.
Amen.
And we see that within the scripture all the time. So that's why when they try to teach you and say, "Oh, there's only one God,"
Oh
well,
gosh, the biggest lie ever told
like,
to us.
which Bible are you actually
Yeah.
reading? So all of this ties into our topic and the subject matter of today, which is obedience is better than the sacrifice.
Yeah.
And that's what it is in a nutshell for us as a people. It's having the ability to remain focused on being obedient to the God of Israel. That is the ultimate goal, because once we start to move away from that, and once we start to shift our
Yeah.
focus somewhat, or just look over there just a little bit, that's when everything starts to go downhill for
Yeah,
us.
That's
yeah.
right.
Because that action doesn't take place by you doing the physical act. It takes place in your heart and in your mind, that you're going to turn away somehow from the God of Israel. And that is what's been said, and that is what's illustrated in our history book.
Yeah.
And you're not going to find a greater example of that. We are the only people. Even prophets have said it. We're the only people that have said that we will turn away from our God.
Yeah.
And other nations look at that and say,
Yes.
well, what are they doing?
Yeah.
They know they have a God.
What are they doing?
People.
There's no other people like this.
No.
You know, there's a particular scripture, you know, that's, you know, you look at the other nations. Like,
Yeah, they-
nobody has ever done this. Has a nation changed their gods, which are
right.
yet no gods? But my people, My people,
Yeah.
they have turned away from the God, not
Yeah.
just any God, but
The ultimate.
the God. They have turned away from Him and have served lesser beings, and for that we suffer today,
Yeah.
to this
Yeah.
day. And until we as a people, as a people recognize that and move away from the serving of false gods, it's sad to say that it is going to get worse for us. It's going to get worse, and that's the sad thing, to sit there and to have the understanding that we have, and to see our people suffer the way they suffer, provide the solution to them, and yet still they don't want it.
They don't want it.
They don't want it. So it's very frustrating.
It is frustrating. I was thinking earlier today, even as I was watching the news, and I was thinking, wow, we are so divided amongst each other, and like you said, if we have the solution, if we could just come together under our God and band together and cry out, our prayers always get answered by the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, and God of Jacob. When we were in Egypt, in bondage, God of Israel went unto Moses and says, I heard their cry, right? Yep. He heard their cry, so he came to deliver and answer. What would he do more today if we were able to come together and come under the same banner of the God of Israel?
That's the only way it could happen.
And that's a great point, because he went to Moses, to one man. Nowadays, like on Sunday, you're going to see 50 million churches open up, or shrines open up with 50 million different leaders. And everyone's going to be talking about this is the way, that's the way, this is the way. All different kind of solutions, and they're all going nowhere. So this is, again, a problem with our people, because we love to follow these multiple leaders. Like leaders, they want to lead someone, even if it's a band of 5 people. They want to call themselves leaders. When you look in the Bible, it's one man, it's one leader.
And that's a very
one
excellent
God,
point.
one leader. There's not multiple.
That's right.
And that's always been our problem. We want to look to the gods or the gods of the other nations, and they've got a king. They've got this. Well, how come we haven't got that?
Right.
Yeah.
They've got a queen of heaven.
See,
Where's ours?
See, that's a very important point that you made, Priest Tyrone, is that we're supposed to be leaders, but we want to follow. We want to follow everyone else.
Everybody else is God.
What do they got? I want what they have.
They want what they want. And it's coming from a real core sense of disobedience. And I can't help but, when I'm reading the scriptures, the God of Israel, he says, such a stubborn and a stiff-necked people. Like, even evilly, stubbornly and stiff-necked. It's like, where is that from? And like you said, you see them in the book of old, you see them today. Exactly the same people.
Like Elder Shadrach.
Haven't changed, like Elder said.
Yeah, like he said in
Exactly
his message on YouTube, the video, Identity and Power, the same, 1992. It's always going to be spiritual warfare, a spiritual warfare amongst us. And we want to be on the right side of that war.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
That is true. So with that being said, we're gonna take up a few scriptures tonight that are going to illustrate the points that we just spoke about in dealing with the characteristics of the children of Israel. So that way we can know that there is a viable solution that has been presented to us from the start. It's nothing new. It's nothing borrowed. It's something that's been with us from day one. So we're going to get into the scriptures just now, and we're going to see, again, the characteristics of our people. And I believe, Priest Doreen, you have that scripture that we're going to...
Okay, yeah. Let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 15. We'll start at verse 1. Okay. Samuel also said unto Saul, so who's talking to here? Samuel the prophet, right? And Saul, who was from the tribe of Benjamin. Read that in 1 Samuel chapter 9. The Lord sent me to anoint thee to be king over his people, over Israel. Now therefore hearken thou unto the voice of the words of the Lord. So Samuel was sent to Saul and says to Saul, hey, I was called to come unto you. And now that I see you, I'm supposed to anoint you to be king over the God of Israel's people. And the people are Israel. Right? Now hearken unto the words of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I remember that which Amalek did to Israel, how he laid wait for him in the way when he came up from Egypt. Now go and smite Amalek and utterly destroy all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant and suckling, ox and sheep, camel and ass.
Oh, that's now
That's heavy.
it is heavy.
Go slow.
Go slow
slow
with
with
this.
this one.
The reason why is because when we say that we are Israelites, when we say that we are not Christians, this is exactly what we're talking about. To be an Israelite, you have to accept the fact that your God, the God that you serve, He is not the God that that's going to say, love everyone.
Let me give you a big hug.
He's not
Everything's okay.
Yeah, he's not coming
Yeah.
with the warm fuzzy blanket
No.
for you by the
No.
by the fireplace.
No.
He's not coming with the hot cocoa with marshmallows and all that stuff in it.
Or presents down the chimney.
And definitely not coming down the chimney. There's no chimney action here at all. He's giving you the straight goods. He's telling his people to destroy another people.
What you say, Elder Freddie? A God, our God, the ultimate God, is telling someone to destroy
Yeah.
someone else. Are you sure he didn't say go and love them?
I didn't write the book. I'm sorry.
Are you sure he
write
didn't
the
say go
book.
give them a hug?
No, it says
Or
here,
presents.
verse 3. If you don't mind, I'll
Go
read it
ahead.
again. Now go and smite, which is a polite word of saying kill.
Kill.
He's not. Smite is not just
slap.
taking out a
Slap.
glove and slapping with a glove and saying we're gonna duel. He's
Yes.
saying go and smite Amalek
And
and utterly destroy
them.
all that they have, and spare them not, but slay both man and woman, infant
and
suckling. Don't stop there. The ox and the sheep, the
and
camel and the
ass.
ass.
Very specific.
Everything.
Everything
Yeah.
has to go.
Everything.
Decimate.
That's
it.
Wipe out.
Good.
Wow.
Like in Mortal Kombat, I'm showing my age. Kill him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah,
Get
that's
rid
it.
of it all.
That's it.
Everything.
Save nothing alive.
Right.
And this is an instruction.
It's an instruction.
That's the most important thing.
This
Yes.
is an instruction,
It's an instruction.
from the God of Israel
That's right.
to Saul.
That's
Yep.
right.
To Saul, who is now anointed to be king.
The
Yes.
first king of
The
Israel.
first king of
Yes.
Israel. And Saul gathered the people together and numbered them in Talam 200,000 footmen and 10,000 men of Judah. Geez, the sight
That's
of
a
that.
mighty army.
Yes.
All right.
And Saul came to a city of Amalek and laid wait in the valley. And Saul said unto the Kenites, Go, depart, get you down from among the Amalekites, lest I destroy you with them. For you showed kindness to all the children of Israel when they came up out of Egypt. So the Kenites departed from among the Amalekites. I'm giving you warning. I'm here to do a job.
Yep.
I'm coming for the Amalekites.
That's
if
right.
you want to be spared, your life wants to be spared, get out of here.
That's right. And
Or
there's
else
something
you'll
else-
suffer with them.
Right. And there's something else in there as well that the God of Israel said, I remembered the
Right.
Amalekites and what they did do. So this is not a forgetful God.
Right.
Not
so
at
he
all.
can't be an all-loving God and
No.
let's sing Kumbaya. And, no,
No.
he remembered, I remember you guys, what you did. And
Right.
it kind of takes me back to, again, to us as a people. He remembers what we've done in
Yeah.
our past. And he's
Yeah.
like, do you think I forget?
Right.
There's a punishment.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. The God of Israel, not only our disobedience does he remember,
Right.
Right.
but he also remembers what other nations do unto
exactly.
us.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So now today,
Yeah.
It's no different.
the people,
Right.
all the destruction we see happening this week, the tension,
There you go.
Right.
you think they'll go unpunished? The God of Israel will, like you said, Priest Tyrone, remember.
He's going to remember.
They will suffer.
Good.
But
the-
vengeance is not
Right.
ours.
That's the important thing is for us to maintain the course and to know who we are. Our Father is not a God who sleeps.
Right.
So there's no need
No.
No need.
No need.
Our dad will take care of things in his time.
That's it.
Just relax.
Yeah.
Let's just maintain the course.
Do what you need to
we
do.
have to do.
Yeah. That's it.
And what we have
Yes.
to do
Yes.
is we have to
Yes.
keep our holy days,
Yes.
keep our Sabbaths,
Yes.
keep our
Yes.
new moons, keep
right.
the things that pertain to us.
Yes.
Keep those holy in the face of adversity
Yes. Yes.
and in the face of anything that's going to come against you. Just maintain the course and do what your father told you to do. Don't worry about anyone else.
No.
I'll take care of them
That's right.
That's
in
right.
their
That's
time.
right.
And
That's
and
right.
that's why for us, that's why you can't get really caught up.
It's
Yeah.
true. You don't need to march.
No.
Need to sing "We Shall Overcome."
No.
No. Come and do what you need to do.
That's right.
Join unto the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. Come back and keep the laws, statutes, and the commandments. And like you said, Elder Freddie, he will do what he needs to do.
That's
And-
it. That's it. When
Just wait
we
patient.
look at it, we see, even just before you read on, so much things is happening in the world as it is. You know, we've come to the end of our 400 years, and so much things have started to take shape and function. We don't have to lift a finger. We don't have to do anything. Just like in the days of old, 10 plagues came down. We didn't lift a finger.
No.
No.
They weren't out there killing them. The God of Israel did what he had to do. Because while Egypt oppressed our fathers, 430 years they were in Egypt.
Yeah.
And they were oppressed 200 years or so. The God of Israel dealt with them. We've been afflicted 400 years.
Yeah.
Same God,
Right.
same people. He'll deal with them.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes. Agreed. All right. Verse 7.
Yeah.
And Saul smote the Amalekites from Havilah until thou comest to Shur, that is over against Egypt. And he took Agag, the king of the Amalekites, alive, and utterly destroyed all the people with the edge of the sword. But Saul and the people spared Agag and the best of the sheep, and of the oxen, and of the fatlings, and the lambs, and all that was good, and them would not utterly destroy them. But everything that was vile and refused, they destroyed utterly. Uh-oh.
So we see
Yeah,
there is
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
there's a huge
Is this
problem.
a spoiler alert?
Yes, spoiler alert. What,
Spoiler
Saul?
alert.
What did you do?
His first job. His first job after this being, like you said, anointed first king of Israel. His first job, he's failed. His first job,
His
the
first
instruction
job.
was given: smite everything. The Amalekites, and utterly destroyed them. Spare not them, not slay both man, woman, infant, suckling, ox, and sheep, camel, and us. That's everything. But yet still, what did King Saul do?
Did King Saul fall asleep and wake up from a nap? It's like, oh, I forgot.
I forgot.
Like,
Oh no.
you know?
You see, this is a very serious scripture.
Very.
Very.
Saul.
I urge you to read on.
Saul, verse 10. You know, sometimes I have so many mixed feelings about Saul, but that's for another message on another Friday.
Oh, it is.
Verse 10. Then came the word of the Lord unto Samuel, saying, It repenteth me that I have set up Saul to be king, for he is turned back from following me, and has not performed my commandments. And it grieved Samuel, and he cried unto the Lord all night. Wow.
Because he.
Can you imagine that? Like the word of the Lord has now come to Samuel. After he's anointed him, okay, people cried out for a king, okay, given them Saul. The first instruction that your father's given to you, your king has given to you, okay, son, this is what I'd like you to do for the Israelite nation, for my people. I remembered what they did to us, and what they did to us wasn't good. Now I want you to go and to repay them, and I want to utterly wipe them out. Don't worry, I'm the God of Israel. I'm with you. I'm giving you my commandments. Then you say, okay, you take this word, you go, and you completely do the opposite to what your father, your king, your God has instructed you to do. Now he has to send Samuel with the word, those words. Think about it. Like what you just read there is really touching. This is the words of the God of Israel. It's his words. So it's as if he's speaking to Saul. That's how your father speaking to you directly.
Oh, yeah.
Look what he says.
I feel like, here's the God of Israel. He's ready to, I want to get in there. It's good that way. I feel like with the God of Israel, he gives an instruction, and then it says he repented from making him king. It shows to me, like, this is more than just, we're not robots.
Right.
Right? It's a family affair. We
definitely
have the feelings.
Yeah, you definitely see you see the family connection in these scriptures, because it didn't start here.
No.
This is coming off of us rejecting our God as to be our king. So then he said, okay, fine. Okay, fine. Don't worry, Samuel. It's not you that they reject, but it's me.
Right.
The people don't want me to be, so I will give them a king. And he told them the manner of king that we would have.
Right.
This is just the tip of the slope. It's like you're going on that roller coaster.
Yeah.
And everything was going good for Saul at this point in time.
Yep.
And he's at the top of the roller coaster right now.
Yes.
And this is the descent and the decline.
Yeah.
So you see, like, you feel bad for him in a way.
Yeah, you do. How can you not?
Because it's like,
we're all. I feel like, and when I read this, we all make mistakes?
Just think of it. Like,
you know what I mean?
he's going in and he's saying, "Wow, but the king. He's the king. Why king? From king to king, like."
It's so many layers to it, like you're saying, right? First, we refuse the ultimate king, the king of all kings.
Right.
Then, like today, we want what everybody else has. Give us a king like the other nations. We want to be like the other nations. So we get Saul, the stature of Saul, what we think a king should look like.
Oh, yeah.
And then the demise of Saul.
Oh yeah.
How can you not feel what the God of Israel's going through? And then Samuel's connection with Saul, like he grieved all night.
Cried all night.
Cried and grieved for Saul all night.
Yep.
And
in verse 12, we'll continue.
Verse 12. And when Samuel rose early to meet Saul in the morning, now he's got to go carry this message. It was told Samuel, saying, Saul came to Carmel, and behold, he set him up a place and is gone about, and passed on, and gone down to Gilgal. And Samuel came to Saul, and Saul said unto him, Blessed be thou of the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord.
Right. So now you see the prophet of God, Samuel, obeying and fulfilling the commandment.
Got to do what you got to do.
Israelite, but now you have Saul, king Israelite, disobeying the commandment of the Lord.
And
that's what they're about to meet.
And then saying, Blessed be thou the Lord. I have performed the commandment of the Lord.
He think he's done a great thing.
Yeah.
He think he's obeying instructions. He think he's done a great thing. Hey, I'm the king. I took that king and I took the best sheep and the best ox and whatever it is to do sacrifice. Hey, Saul, I did it. I did what God told me to do. I did what the God of Israel asked me to do.
It's
What do you think his reaction is when Samuel replies?
Well, Samuel was aggrieved. He had to take that word to him.
Yeah, he knew from the get-go.
And he even kept the commandment of God. He took the words to him, and oh my gosh, he could have said, oh, maybe, Saul, it's so he took the words.
He had to do what he had to do.
He didn't dress it up.
No.
He still kept the commandment of the word to his friend who was close to, because he was close to Saul.
So we see Saul's decline, but we see the obedience of Samuel.
Right.
That's,
Yeah.
Verse 14. Here's Samuel's reply. And Samuel said, What meaneth then this bleating of the sheep in my ears? What do I hear back there then? And the lowing of the oxen which I hear, what's that?
Yeah.
And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites. You can imagine how happy he is. We brought them from the Amalekites. For the people spared the best of the sheep and of the oxen to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God. And the rest we have utterly destroyed.
Wow.
But you can
Saul's
see,
thinking it's a great thing.
but you can see that he knows something is up, right?
You think
Yeah,
so?
he does.
Look what he says here. He said, and Samuel said, What meaneth the bleating of the sheep in mine ears, and the lowing of the oxen which I hear? And Saul said, much like what Aaron said, right?
Yeah.
What Aaron said.
Exactly.
And Saul said, They have brought them from the Amalekites.
Your people.
Yeah.
wasn't me.
Hey,
Your
they,
people.
hey, man, they brought them from the Amalekites. They brought them for the people. Yeah. He's
For
the
the
king,
people.
but the people, he's saying, the people spared the best of the sheep
Yeah.
and of the oxen
Yeah.
to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God.
Yeah.
And the rest have they utterly destroyed, all the bad ones.
Yeah.
But the people did it,
Yes.
you know?
Not me.
Yeah.
It wasn't me. It was them.
Verse
We have utterly
16.
destroyed. Yeah. Verse
Sorry,
16.
sorry. I'm going to
ahead.
go back because I was listening to the Bible online as I was
Yeah.
driving, and it went right back to Genesis. I listened to that Genesis, and I'm listening to the creation of Adam and Eve, and Adam goes, "It was the woman that you
Yeah,
gave
yeah.
to me."
Right.
Always pointing the finger, right? Oh my God.
yeah.
So true. We do that often.
Verse 16.
Verse 16. Then Samuel said unto Saul, Stay, and I will tell thee what the Lord has said to me this night. And he said unto him, Say on. And Samuel said, When thou wast little in thy own sight, wast thou not made the head of the tribes of Israel? And the Lord anointed thee king over Israel? And the Lord sent thee on a journey and said, Go and utterly destroy the sinners of the Amalekites and fight against them until they be consumed. Wherefore then did thou not obey the voice of the Lord, but didst fly upon the spoil and didst evil in the sight of the Lord? And Saul said unto Samuel, Yea, I have obeyed the voice of the Lord. He's pleading now, right? But I did. And have gone the way which the Lord sent me, and have brought Agag, the king of Amalek, and have utterly destroyed the Amalekites. Verse 21. But the people took of the spoil, the sheep and oxen, the chief of the things which should have been utterly destroyed, to sacrifice unto the Lord thy God in Gilgal. And Samuel said, the Lord has great delight in burnt offerings and sacrifices, as in obeying the voice of the Lord? Behold, to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken the fat of the rams. For rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord, he also has rejected thee from being king.
That's heavy.
It's heavy. It's extremely heavy. And this is not only applies to Saul, but throughout the scriptures, you've seen that this applies to us as a people.
Yep.
As a people, Saul is representing us as a people in this particular scripture here, in that you're given an instruction to do. And the instructions are the most important things. To be honest with you, we don't know, quite honest, we don't know what our Father has in store for us. But he tells us to do certain things. And as you start to gain more knowledge and understanding, you start to see, like, wow, that makes complete sense.
Yeah.
For example, I'll give you an example. When we were instructed to circumcise our young boys on the 8th day,
Yeah.
it turns out what the physicians say, that's when your blood starts having the ability to clot and to heal itself. And so you see, okay, well, if you'd have done it a day before, like, the poor child is going to bleed to death. But on the 8th day, when you're instructed, these things make so much sense. For example, again, the 1st day and the 7th day, like we're instructed, keep the 1st day of the month holy. It is a new moon unto us. The 7th day is the Sabbath day. Like we continue these things as instructions. So what would happen now if you woke up someplace and you were on a deserted island and you're an Israelite and you don't know what day it is? Like how are you going to keep Sabbath? You still have to keep Sabbath. Well, as an Israelite should.
You would.
There's the moon.
Continue.
Well, we know when the new moon occurs, when everything goes black. So when there's that last sliver that's there, and everything is about to turn completely black. So just like the scriptures, when Jonathan and David knew that tomorrow is the new moon. So the new moon day occurs tomorrow.
But they never had no smartphones.
No smartphones, no
reliable
calendar, no
calendars,
nothing. But they knew.
They knew.
They knew when the new moon was going to occur.
Right.
So the new moon occurred, and the 7th day after that,
Yep.
so it's the 6th day after that,
Yep.
that's Sabbath.
Seven. Yes, sir.
Follow the instructions.
That's it.
Don't worry about anything else. Just follow the instructions.
Yes.
I mean, that's what you do when you're in the army.
Absolutely.
The scripture says that the God of Israel took his army out.
Yeah.
So we were an army.
Yeah.
So as a member, as a soldier in that army, what you do is you follow the instructions. Don't worry about anything else.
Right.
Whatever is going to be taken care of will be taken care of. But you follow the instructions. The instructions that Saul was given was to kill everything.
That's it.
Yep.
Kill everything.
That's it.
Follow the instructions. The instructions were not followed. So because the instructions weren't followed, because they were not followed, that led to a very slippery slope in Saul's reign. And you just saw that he was at the top of the roller coaster, and
You're on
at this
your journey.
point,
Yeah.
and at this point, everything just went downhill,
Downhill
which was
fast.
unfortunate for Saul because he did, he was pretty decent, but because of not
It's like
following
it's
instructions.
obedience have always been the downfall of man.
Obedience.
Like, you brought up Adam and Eve,
Yeah.
right? I was thinking as you're talking, Elder Freddie, is like even the God of Israel doesn't take reward or favors or
No.
bribes.
No.
So,
He doesn't.
all you need to do is listen.
Right.
If Adam and Eve had just listened and obeyed
Instructions.
the instructions, what plans could have been in place for them there?
Exactly.
Right?
It's like
He had to wait till he got to Abraham to found Noah an obedient servant, right? Noah,
Yeah.
build a boat.
Yep.
There's going to be a flood. A
Yeah.
flood? What are you talking about?
Right.
An obedient servant just did it,
Yep.
listening to God. Then waited until he got to Abraham, an obedient servant, to even now say, with him, I'm going to establish my covenant.
Yeah.
Not taking anything.
Absolutely, and that's so important because we also see a man here, just coming back to Saul, but Saul, when you read verse 21, he was pleasing the people because he already knew what the instructions were, but he said, but the people took up the spoil. So he allowed them, so in his mind, it's like, well, if they take it, then they'll like me because they'll have stuff. And this is
Favor
another
of the
thing.
people.
Like you
Right.
fake that, it's okay, it's
Yeah.
okay. As long as I've got the big one, but so he's trying to play both sides.
Right.
He's trying to think he can please the God of Israel and he can please people. And so that he can be favored, looked upon as, this
Right.
is all.
Right.
Again, that's not what the instruction
Right.
was.
Also with, the pressure of the people,
Absolutely.
right? You're the king.
Yep.
No matter what kind of pressure comes to you, you have to lead.
You have to
And
lead,
you
yeah.
cannot go with your thought of this is a good thing.
Right.
I have a
Right.
good intention to burn this unto you, to sacrifice this unto you.
There's a saying about the the road to destruction.
Yep,
It's paved with good intentions,
intentions.
right? So
It's paved with
it's not the good intentions.
Oh, yeah.
It's just follow the
Not
instructions.
what you think is
Right.
going to be good. You already told what
Yeah.
to do that was going to be
Absolutely.
good.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
So no need to rethink it.
Yeah, and we come across this like so many times as you being an Israelite now, you being a practicing Israelite, and you living the life. It's not about saying things like you walk it and you talk it. It's one and the same.
That's right.
So we see so many things where we witness things, and it's like, really, that's interesting. I've never seen so many interesting concepts as I have during this COVID-19 period. Like I'm seeing a lot of interesting concepts that I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Really?
I've seen where people have called themselves Israelites, but yet believe that circumcision is not necessary.
Weird.
Like
Utter disobedience.
Pure disobedience.
Utter
That's-
disobedience.
That's complete
Like-
disobedience in the face of the God of Israel.
Yeah.
And I'll do what I want. Again,
Yeah.
it just brings you back
And-
to those
and-
people.
No, and then the thing with that, I mean, we talk about this so much. The thing with the circumcision, God of Israel said to circumcise.
Yeah.
So then, are you going to go listen to someone else who, when God said it already, listen to someone that wasn't with Jesus, the Christ, and say, you don't have to do that anymore?
Or even better, Abraham was circumcised
Right.
at 99.
Right.
Like, come on, man. We're talking about Abraham. We're not talking.
And everybody in his household,
And
his
all the
servants,
men
everybody.
servants. Come on.
That's
You know,
that's when
ridiculous.
you're going. That's when you're taking it to another level.
Yeah.
That is another level of disobedience, and that's called
Stiff-necked,
presumptuous.
highest regard,
Oh,
yeah.
That is presumptuous.
Presumptuous because
Presumptuous
they
sin.
know. Yeah, they
That
know.
elder
It's-
spoke about that last
He
Saturday.
did.
Yeah.
He spoke about that last Saturday.
Yeah.
And it's something that's infecting our people because, as you read on pre-story, it says, for rebellion is as the
Yeah.
sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness
Right.
is as iniquity and idolatry. Because thou hast rejected the word of the Lord,
Yep.
he hath also rejected thee from being king. So if you reject the laws, the statutes, and the commandments which the God of Israel has commanded us to keep, that we can live, then what do you think he's going to do to us? He's going to reject
Right.
us.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I've given you my commandments. You don't want to do them, but yes, do you want these things from
Yeah.
me? Well, I reject you.
Right.
And
Yeah.
unfortunately, we find then the children of slavery, even the children of Jacob, being killed by the dozens because why? They now go and worship the Queen of Heaven in Christianity.
Yeah, and
They've
I feel-
rejected our God.
Yeah, that's
Here-
it there.
yeah.
Rejection and rebellion
Rebellion.
are one and the same.
One and the same.
Yeah.
One and the same. You going against,
Yeah.
and fighting against
Right.
laws, statutes, and commandments
Right.
that were given to you.
Right.
You're rebelling. You're rebelling against the God who created heaven and
Yeah.
earth.
Right.
So what exactly do you think will happen to you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay for other people to do those
you.
things.
Yeah.
I had this discussion with my mom just this week. She was on the phone with me, and we were talking about this. And I said, it didn't even mean for the conversation to go like that, but the conversation went into, well, the laws, statutes, and commandments were only given to the Israelites.
Yeah.
Like, these are things that
Yeah.
most people can't really grasp.
No, they cannot.
But
No, no.
that's it in a nutshell.
Well, what are you talking about? God loves everybody.
But they were in the wilderness as a nation by themselves with Moses alone. So these laws, these statutes, these commandments that the Christians so much like to talk about, these 10 commandments, were only given to these people. So
Yeah.
only these people have to keep them.
Yeah.
Nobody else has to keep them. So everyone else can do whatever they want to do.
Yeah.
But because you are under a covenant, you are under an agreement, you're the only people that will be affected for your rebellion
Yeah.
against
Yes.
the God of Israel.
Right.
So he sees it, and according to the scripture, it's as witchcraft,
witchcraft.
that you are rebelling against
he's saying.
the
He's
God of Israel.
And it's
This
funny-
rebellion it also shows the behavior of us,
Yeah.
right? This rebellion is as the sin of witchcraft.
Yeah.
You rebel against me, it's like you did this.
Yes.
Okay, that you know how I hate witchcraft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then he says, rebellion is a sin of witchcraft, and stubbornness is as iniquity and idolatry.
Yeah.
The behavior of us, our stiff-necked ways, our stubbornness
Right.
that is embedded within us,
Yep.
and then to go against God, reject God's of Israel's words, and do these things. He looks at it like these are one and the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you could see why Samuel was so distraught. It's like he.
How can you
it's-
not do what the God
Yeah.
of Israel told you, the ultimate God?
Yeah.
How can you not do what he said? It was a simple
Right.
task.
And that's the
Follow
seriousness.
instructions.
That is the seriousness that we have to take. If we want to get closer to our God, if we want that salvation, if we want to bridge the gap that is so far and wide, we truly have to turn back to our Father in everything that we do, in our breath, in our being, in the very marrow of your bones. You have to return to the instructions that were given to you. Because if you don't, it will continue to get worse and
Yes.
worse and worse for our people.
Absolutely.
It's our
Yeah.
only way. It is our
Yeah.
only way to gain back the favor of
It
our
is.
God, is to
Yeah.
turn back to Him by doing what He told us to do.
Yep, from the time he gave Moses the laws in the wilderness.
Absolutely, and
Yeah.
even going right back, it's funny because this all ties in to how I spoke last week. When our God punished us, He put us into what? Slavery. How
Yep.
much times we were enslaved in the book of Judges by the Philistines, by the Amorites.
Yep.
It's so much like because
worse
they
than a broken record.
It's worse than a broken record because you're doing the same thing
Over and over. You
Like,
keep
over
reading.
and
Aren't you
over
going to get
again.
this right after
Right.
all? Like, when
It's-
are you going to get this right?
You're gonna get it
Yeah.
right. Like this is what's going to happen to you. This is what's happening because you're disobeying my words. It's so clear.
So let's look at what an obedient servant did. Let's jump to verse 32.
Okay.
Then said Samuel, bring ye hither to me Agag, the king of the Amalekites. And Agag came unto him delicately. And Agag said, surely the bitterness of death is past.
Oh, that's
surely the time is past. You're not going to punish me. You're not going to do anything to me, right?
Whoa.
He's pleading for his life now.
The God of Israel said
right?
he didn't forget. So.
And Samuel said, as thy sword has made women childless, so shall thy mother be childless among women.
Wow.
And Samuel hewed Agag in pieces before the Lord in Gilgal. Then Samuel went up to Ramah, and Saul went up to his house in Gibeah of Saul. And Samuel came no more to see Saul until the day of his death. Nevertheless, Samuel mourned for Saul, and the Lord repented that he had made Saul king over Israel.
Amazing.
So Samuel followed instructions.
Yes, he did.
He did what he had to do. He got rid of the king of the Amalekites. He didn't let feelings and emotions or anything get in between that. And then he went his way.
Yeah, he did. And again, that's following instructions where now the instruction was given to King Saul, fell now on the prophet of God to now fulfill that word. Because why? King Saul had failed.
Yeah.
And again, and it's heart-wrenching because Samuel had like a double whammy. And I say double whammy, one, because he knew what was going to happen to Saul for disobeying the God of Israel. But then also now he's now had the pressure now of now having to go and to kill this king, human pieces. Again, look at the human factor to it. That physical part of it. He's given his whole soul and being to the God of Israel, listen to instruction. It will be heavy on him, physically and spiritually, because he's mourning for Saul as well because of what's now to come. We wouldn't see him no more until his death.
And then you have God of Israel repenting that he made
and then
Saul king over Israel.
And the God of Israel,
I should have never bothered. I knew he would have did this,
it
man.
hurts.
I should have never bothered. I should just kept it for myself.
And still gave him chance and opportunity, right?
Yeah.
That's the one thing that we will always know and understand about our God is that there's always the ball. He always puts the ball in our court and gives us the opportunity. I mean, this is our history. Like you will see from time and time again where he has been merciful, where he has stretched out the arm, where he has been compassionate, long suffering, like with us as a people, but yet we still just don't seem to get it.
We don't seem to get it.
We don't seem to get it.
So you're saying that the God of Israel didn't hug Saul, right? When he disobeyed? He didn't say, I'll see you. He didn't? Okay, he didn't say, I love you, Saul, after he disobeyed? Okay, just checking. I just want to make sure.
I sometimes look at it like this. Like you see, like the men of God that have come before, and they've got that burden of delivering that message from the God of Israel to the people, to the children of Israel. Sometimes you want to know, how does the God of Israel feel? Look at the men of God that's got the task. Like, because they're having to bring that message. And if it's a message of joy, they're joyful. If it's a message of sorrow and of death to the people because of their wicked and stubborn and stiff-necked ways, look at them. Like, look at Jeremiah, for example. Look at Ezekiel. But look at Samuel. Samuel was mourning, so you can understand how the God of Israel would have been feeling, because he, like you said, the God of Israel repented for making Saul king. So it was a sad time. It was a sad time for the God of Israel and even for Saul, man. All for disobedience. All for disobedience. And this is what our people are doing to our God even now, because they don't turn away from their ways.
Right.
No.
It's a hard thing.
It's always a difficult task.
Always a difficult task.
If you look at the scenario, how everything is, as you said earlier, here you have Samuel. He's the only person. This is the intercession between the God of Israel and his people. So there's that pattern yet again. There's that Moses. There is that Joshua. There is Samuel.
There you go.
So that pattern again.
And here you are connecting with Samuel, feeling like him, like, man, you're on this high with Saul. Dang, man, you messed up. And then you have no choice but to connect with Samuel. You're like, I feel for you, man.
By the way, I even forgot, we're so wrapped up in this whole conversation. If you're out there, sorry, I forgot that you guys were here. Please, smash the likes, give us some thumbs up, throw some fire symbols up, and also
burn it up.
If you want, you can also donate if you truly feel to.
And text and call.
Call and text. I completely forgot.
I know, so wrapped up
So
in it.
sorry, you're really involved in
Forgot
discussion
we have
here
cyber
tonight.
world happening here.
Right in front of us.
But I believe you've got some other scriptures that we're going to
Yeah,
explore today.
so just to add to your lesson, Elder Freddie, of obedience is better than sacrifice, we'll go to the book of Jeremiah, chapter 7. And again, it's Jeremiah coming with the word of the God of Israel, and to speak unto the children, and to proclaim these words unto the children of Israel, children of Jacob, speaking unto them of who he is and what he wants them to do. And this, it applies to us today. It applies to us today. All of these words, it's very relevant. Just like Elder's 1992 speech, it's message, it's still relevant today.
Night and day, yes.
For word. When you
Yeah.
read word for word, it's almost, it's very
It's like
scary.
you could have just made the tape yesterday.
And just launch it out there. So I'm going to read Jeremiah
yesterday,
chapter
today.
7. Yeah. Jeremiah chapter 7, and I'm going to take it from verse 21. It's a great scripture to read. Okay, now I'll go back up to 19. And it says, do they provoke me, this is the God of Israel now speaking, do they provoke me, being the children of Israel, to anger, saith the Lord? Do they provoke themselves to the confusion of their own faces? Therefore, thus saith the Lord God, behold, mine anger and my fury shall be poured out upon this place, upon man, and upon beast, and upon the trees of the field, and upon the fruit of the ground. And it shall burn and shall not be quenched. So there's something taking place here that has really upset and angered the God of Israel. But let's read on.
And when it angers the God of Israel, no one can stop it.
No one can stop him. Well, there's only one person I think that's been able to quench it a little bit, which was Moses.
Right.
He said,
Yes.
and even then it was like, wow. You're speaking to the supreme being. There's some people out there that think that they can hear the voice of our God. There's some people that think they've been to heaven. There's some people that think that they are actually in communion with God. My friends, you are not.
That's the
God didn't speak to you last
Didn't
night.
speak to them.
That's the same thing.
God didn't speak
That's
to
the
you
same
last
conversation
night.
I had with my mom. I said, but she said, sometimes I feel that God is talking to me. And I said, wait, what, huh? I go, Mom, do you, when I had to put the brakes on the conversation. I said, Mom, really, I'm quite sure I would have heard that conversation too. Like, do you know what takes place when God speaks to someone? The last time he spoke to our people, the mountain had to be, send them away from the mountain and create a barrier and make sure they don't come. Don't pass.
That's right.
And I'll go up there and I'll go speak on your behalf. And when he went up, the mountain was smoke. Like, do you know what a volcano is? An erupted mountain blowing its top. Like, the people had to stay away.
You go and talk to him.
That's it. It's
and
not,
that conversation, there's no whispering.
There's no whispering.
No.
Like, there's no way. I said, Mom, when people tell me that, like, please just don't say stuff like that.
No.
That God spoke to you.
No.
Yeah, the
Like,
children of Jacob say that a lot.
maybe a God spoke to you. Maybe some God spoke to you.
Small G.
But the God in the Bible did not speak to you. Because we know what happens when the
he
God of
speaks.
Israel is coming to speak.
Right. I mean, look, he said the voice of the Lord parteth fire. So again, if he spoke, and I mean, no disrespect, but he's speaking to someone, your head is still there. It parts fire, man.
These are the things that our people, they're caught up and they're wrapped in when they go there on Sunday morning. And somebody says, oh, the Lord spoke to me last night. And he's had to come give you a message. It's like, who do you think you're kidding? Like, the God of Israel don't speak. He doesn't even know you to begin with.
You know
he
what?
doesn't know you. But you're going to say that he spoke to you?
Well, you know what? To me, that speaks to the fact that he built us to serve. We were built to serve him. So we're always going to be looking for something. This God spoke to me. That God spoke to me. You know what I mean? And serving the wrong God. He built us to serve him, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob.
And what's going to add to that point, because that's a perfect point going into what I'm going to say next, is that Moses was prepared to speak to the God of Israel. When he saw the bush that burned but was not consumed, the voice said, take off the shoes from off your feet, from where you stand in his holy ground. That's a preparation. He was walking there with your dirty shoes and stuff like that. He was prepared. there was a preparation. You can't just go in there.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I was sitting on the toilet last night and I heard the voice of the Lord. Really?
Yeah.
So there's no preparation, there's no cleansing.
The preparation,
You just smoked some weed or you drank some alcohol and you heard him.
Yeah, and the preparation with Moses took place from the time before he was born.
40.
Yeah, he had to be an Israelite.
And you were circumcised, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
Because what they
That's
did.
right. That's right.
So this is some strange
He had to know himself.
Some strange, he had to know. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, man,
You just
come on,
can't
guys.
go and speak
Yes.
to God.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, hi, God.
Hi, God, here I am.
You pick up the telephone and phone you, hi, can you hear me?
Or not even God is with me all the time.
He's engaged, I'll call back later.
Yeah.
And you put the phone down. Come on, man.
Or he's with me all the time.
Oh, yeah. It's the same pattern that you mentioned.
Yeah.
The same pattern.
Same, man.
The God that created the universe,
Yeah.
he's not going to speak to anybody unless he speaks to his children
That's right.
to speak to them.
That's right.
That's
right.
always been the pattern.
That's
the
right.
pattern. It's
Always
never
been the
changed.
pattern.
Always been the pattern. A child of Israel,
Yep.
circumcised,
Right.
or if it's a female, not circumcised.
Right.
At the end of the
An
day,
Israelite.
it's a child, an Israelite
Yeah.
that serves him, that keeps his laws, his statutes, his commandments. A goodly servant,
Yep.
right?
That's
That
right.
understands, like Samuel.
Yeah.
Yep,
absolutely.
always goes to someone that could really bring his message to his
That's
people.
right. That's right.
In a
because-
Not a
language
high, in a language,
In a language
in a
that they'll
language we understand.
That's true.
That's right. In a language we understand.
Oh,
Oh,
Lord.
jeez. I don't know what
Things
time
people come up with nowadays.
The hocus pocus of it all.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez. Okay, I don't know what time we got, but
This is a
let me
good
get into 21.
Can you imagine though?
Yeah.
But seriously, what he said in Ezekiel chapter 3, can you imagine that?
Right.
He said it would be easier. Like they would listen to you
Yeah.
if you went to them,
Yes. And
to a people
they didn't
and that
understand.
spoke a foreign language. But if you go to my people,
they won't hear it.
It's too simple.
like
Too
wow, like this
We
is
like it complex.
This is just amazing. It is amazing. Every time I open this Bible and I read, like something just jumps out at
Yes,
you, and it says,
yes,
and I
yes.
have to say, thank you, God of Israel.
Amen.
Thank
Ears
you,
to hear.
Yes.
God of Israel.
Yes,
You know,
thank you,
number
God of
one
Israel.
for providing elder to teach us these things,
Amen.
because now we can actually read and understand, and it's like, wow,
Yep.
this is so simple. Why is everybody trying to make it so complicated?
And then you touched on the good point about the prophets and the burden,
Right.
that the prophets had
Yeah,
to bear.
that's right.
And the subject tonight is obedience is better than sacrifice. And just you brought up elder, and I'm thinking like, wow, he gave up his whole
Yeah.
ideas of what he wanted to do with his life, his career.
Yep.
It's completely selfless. To be spit on, to be, refused.
Stabbed in the back.
So many things that he's gone to
these things.
sacrifice so much of his own life to do a cause for the God of Israel and to teach God of Israel's people,
Yeah.
the stubborn and stiff-necked
Yeah.
people. And I think of today, like, I know we talk about Isaiah 19 and the state of the tribes, and I know we don't want to get too much into it, but just like the people that have a platform, I don't know too many people or celebrities that have done selfless things like this or sacrificed their riches and their platform
Yeah.
to speak on our issues. You know
And
what I mean?
that's
Yeah.
when you speak on that, it brings to me to mind one of the reasons as to why we are actually here. So what a lot of people really don't understand is that if you have been selected to hear this message, throw some fire symbols up. Because it's not something or throw some sevens up in the chat room, because it's not something that happens every day.
No.
People just don't
get it.
get this. Unless it's given to you, you're actually not going to get any of this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it comes
There it
to
is.
when it
Yeah.
comes to the Israelite
Yeah.
Nation Worldwide Ministries, we're not looking for the vast multitude of people. We're just looking for quality people.
Right.
People who the God of Israel has chosen to hear this word and to be a part of what we're doing. We're not looking for each and every person.
No, not at
because
all.
we know the history of our people. Not everyone is going to say, you know what, I agree
I'm on
with you,
board.
I'm on board.
Yep.
Because we've seen it from
Yeah.
before. It requires It requires that you have been called out and placed in the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. That's how it works.
That's
And the God of Israel said it already from the beginning. I didn't choose you because you were a multitude.
Exactly.
That's right.
I chose you because you were the fewest.
The fewest of all nations.
All nations.
And there's a reason why he did that.
Yeah.
So that he can show his power.
Right.
It's not because of
You can
our
say it's
might.
me
It's
and
right.
us.
There's too
you
many of
know?
us.
Right.
That's right. There's money. No, you're right. Okay, I'm gonna.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's good. It's good. It's
Sorry,
good,
Sarah.
man. That's no worry. That's good. So let's get to verse 21 of Jeremiah 7. we just started.
Sorry,
It
guys.
says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel." Again, we're talking about the God of Israel. It's not. There's no other name here to no other people. "Put your burnt offerings unto your sacrifices, and eat flesh." Very important. For I spake unto your fathers, for I spake not unto your fathers, nor commanded them in the day that I brought them out of the land of Egypt concerning burnt offerings or sacrifices. He didn't speak to them first when they come out, but there was something that came first.
Right.
But this thing commanded I, saying, Obey my voice, and I will be your God,
Right.
and ye shall be my people, and walk ye in all the ways that I have commanded you, that it may be well unto you. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Close the Bible.
That's it. You're right.
Close it.
I
Drop the mic, close the Bible.
That's it,
That's
because
Yeah.
it's so clear in there. He said, look, children of Israel, you want to come and give me all these burnt offerings, all these things that you have no heart in, just eat it.
Right.
You know, roast it in the fire, make
Yeah.
your bellies full. But this thing that's more important is to obey my
Right.
voice.
That's all it is. This
And
thing I
keep my
command.
commandments.
Obey my voice,
Obey
and
my
I will
voice.
be your God,
Your
and
God.
you will be my people.
You won't need
Can-
to serve
Right.
another God.
It's like a parents to their child. Can you separate the father from his son?
There you go.
Right.
Son, I said, put the glass on the table.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen to what I have to say.
voice, right.
If you don't listen to me, there's going to be a beating.
There's a
Right.
consequence.
There is a consequence.
Always there is. And it's so...
Because I am your father,
Right.
and you are my son.
Yep.
Right.
I am your God, and you are my people.
Right.
So it's my voice that you have to listen
You
to.
have to, and this is so...
So whatever I say, you
Yeah.
should walk in
Yeah.
the way of what I say and
Right.
keep all my
Right.
commandments.
And the
Love
thing
it.
is, we don't have a choice.
No, you don't.
It's an everlasting covenant.
Yes, it was.
That's
And it is.
Yeah.
It's everlasting.
We don't have a choice.
We don't have a choice.
And believe it or not,
And if you don't do it,
he doesn't
you
have
will
a
get
choice
punished.
either. It's true. You know that? He doesn't have a
true.
choice
Choice.
either because
true.
he has bounded himself to us
Us.
as a people.
He's married to
and
us.
he's married to us.
Yeah.
The covenant cannot be broken.
Nope.
He will not break it.
Yes.
He is a God of his word.
Amen.
So he will not. We can try to break it as much as we can, but we see the end results.
No, that's right.
We see
It's not
what
a good
takes
one.
place when we
pretty.
try
Past week,
to.
yeah.
When we try to break
Yep.
that covenant
Yep.
and try to get away, it's like we're under something. We are under the blessing and we're under the curse
right.
because there's no way that we can escape this as to who we are. We simply just all you have to do, just follow the instructions.
That's it. It's so,
It sounds so easy.
Yeah.
If I could, I would give you all these things
Yeah,
if
just
you would
follow.
just listen
Just
to
follow the
me.
instructions.
my voice.
Yeah.
Listen to my voice, my son. Israel, my son. You keep hearing that. My
Yeah.
son. My son gets the blessing and inheritance of his father.
Yes.
If you listen to him,
Yep.
oh man.
I
if-
called you out of Egypt.
I called exactly like a father, who's maybe going and he's going to leave the world. He's
Yeah.
going to turn like Isaac with Jacob. He was about to leave now and go and sleep with his fathers, and he turned and he blessed his son
Yeah.
with all the blessings of Abraham and all these things. Because why? He hearkened unto his father's voice
Yeah.
and his mother's voice,
Yeah.
not to go and to marry a woman out of their.
Right.
No, it's right.
Yeah.
When you
to the
listen, you
instruction.
get the
You get the
blessing.
blessings.
Yep.
And there's nothing wrong
There's
with
nothing
getting the blessings
Why
because
not?
he promised that to us.
That's right. It's simple instruction.
Yeah.
But let me get into it. I know Priest
Oh.
Freddie's got
Oh,
one.
you got
It says one
even
more.
know if that's
I'll go one more verse. We already
Got
talked about one more verse. But this thing command I them, saying, Obey my voice, and I'll be your God, and ye shall be my people, and walk in all the ways I have commanded you, that it may be well unto you. But they hearken not, nor incline their ear, but evil. Oh man. But walked in the counsels in the councils and in the imaginations of their evil heart,
And
and
went-
went backward and not forward.
Yeah.
They walked in the imaginations of
their
their
own
evil heart
Yeah.
Yeah.
and walked backwards. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
we're the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. We don't baptize people going backwards and all in foolishness. We don't go backwards.
Yeah.
We go forward.
We believe in going forward.
And we
That's right.
believe in everything's forward. When we left Egypt, we went forward.
That's
We
right.
didn't go backwards through the Red Sea. We went forward.
That's right. That's
And
right.
we did these things. We had to hearken unto our voice. So, obedience, sacrifice.
Yeah.
Shall I do it? Shouldn't I do it?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, I don't know. Listen to the voice of the God of Israel.
Yeah.
Get punishment.
It's so,
Which one?
it's funny that you read this scripture, Priest Tyrone, and it says, "Put your burnt offerings and your unto your sacrifices and eat flesh."
eat.
Like I don't take pleasures in this, and it's the same thing that Saul did, right? I got the sheep and the
Yeah.
ox and everything
Yeah.
to do the sacrifice. I don't take reward and
Yeah.
pleasure in this. Just obey.
That's it. Simple as it is. Simple instruction.
Very
Obey
simple.
my voice.
And it's always something that,
And you see the culture there too, right?
yeah,
Well, what we did. You see the culture. We
the
had
culture
to
is definitely
bring the
there.
sacrifices, and like that's how important that was to the God of Israel. That's how much we thought of it, right? Okay, presumption again right now. Okay, if I do this, do that, I'll just go get a turtle dove. I'll go
Right.
get this and do what I need to
Right.
do.
Right.
You know what I mean, for the God of Israel, and then that just became mechanical.
Right.
And then you just thought, well, I'll just do this, and the God of Israel will
Right.
be okay with that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And-
No, it's not okay.
It doesn't work.
So you know when you mention that, it brings also this thought to my mind, because I said, like, with all this COVID-19 situation that's happening, I've been exposed to so many different things, and I've also been exposed to
Yeah.
there are Israelites out there that believe that you don't read the New Testament,
That's right.
like you're not supposed to read it.
Well,
Yeah,
So
yeah,
when it comes
yeah.
to all this
Non-Messianic,
sacrifice,
Yeah.
yeah.
when it comes to all of this, what exactly do you do
Yeah.
when you commit a sin?
That's a very good question,
Like
Freddie.
when you commit a sin, because I've always questioned and had this concern about the Khazars, because the Khazars don't believe in the New Testament. They don't believe in Jesus the Christ.
Right.
That's right.
That Israelite, our brother
Yes.
who came and did what he had to do. So when you sin or commit a sin, what exactly do you do?
I'd like to know that.
I would like to know
It's a
too.
very good question.
It's a great
if you
question.
don't believe in the Second
Yeah.
Testament,
Right.
And you-
if you don't believe in the New Testament,
Right.
so what should be taking place according to what you believe, if you only believe in the First Testament, is that you should be sacrificing
Right.
for your sin offering.
Right.
A goat, a bullock, a turtle dove,
Yep.
or any of these things.
Yeah.
According to the instructions that we were given,
Yeah.
you should be finding a priest someplace to make that sacrificial offering for your sin that you've
Yeah.
committed,
Yeah.
if you are truly an Israelite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because
And just go by.
us being Israelites, we knew that Jesus was the last sacrificial lamb.
Right,
Done.
right.
So sacrifices are done away with,
Right,
right?
right.
But if you don't believe, like you said,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right.
in that, or you only follow the first 5 books, or you
Right.
only follow the Old Testament,
Right.
when you kill a man, or you
Right.
do this, or you sin against the God of
Right.
Israel,
Right.
where are you taking your 2 turtle doves and your 3 bullocks and your 5 goats?
Yeah, because again, it comes down to obedience.
It does.
Because you have to obey.
To obedience.
You
You
have
should
to
obey.
obey.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
the obedience factor tells you that when you sin, you take your turtle dove, you take your goat, the sin offering, your
Yes.
sacrificial lamb,
Yeah.
your bullock, whatever it is you have to do based off of the sin that you've committed, take that to the priest, and the priest will sacrifice on your behalf. I just hope.
And if you're not doing it, you are being disobedient.
Right. I just hope and pray that it's not being done in your basement. Please don't do it in your basement, because the Department of Health
Oh,
and
gosh.
Agriculture and
They have a
all
whole
those
farm in
government
their backyard?
officials, please,
Where are they getting animals? There's a whole farm in their backyard.
whatever you do, don't do those things.
Don't do those things.
So when it comes to teaching this doctrine, believe you me, the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries, we are the teachers of this doctrine.
Amen.
We are the teachers of this book.
Right.
Don't put your knowledge, don't put your life in the hands of people who have no understanding when it comes to this book. We have been teaching this book based off of the teachings that our elder Shadrach has taught us.
Right.
And we are all qualified teachers here. He has taught us from the beginning. We read Genesis to Revelations.
right.
This is all we need. We don't need to go dancing
5 and
through
6 books.
to anything else.
8 to 9
We don't need to
and all the
be
other stuff.
playing Twister. We
No.
don't do right hand to blue
No.
dot.
And you just need
we
the
don't do
Bible.
those things.
Yeah.
If you cannot find what you're doing within the scriptures, if you have to go to some other book to justify what it is that you're trying to teach people, that means that you're not a qualified teacher. We are qualified teachers here at the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries.
That's right.
We are here to teach everyone. We're not discouraged, we're not intimidated, and we teach everyone,
We do.
regardless of your race, your skin color,
Right.
regardless.
Right.
Our Father, our God, had intended for every nation to serve Him.
That's right.
That has always been His intent. For every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess. I mean,
Yeah.
these are very simple things to read here. And at the end of the day, a lot of people like to always talk, but we actually follow through. At the end of the day, when you go in Revelations and
We
you
are
see
the
the 12
authority
tribes
of
that
this
are being
book,
called,
yes.
and the vast majority, there is a multitude of people. What do you think those multitudes of people were? Like,
Yeah.
this is in the end of the book.
Right.
It's at the end of the day, it's not just Israel,
Right.
but all those people who want to serve the God of Israel, because I honestly do believe that most people are tired of being lied to.
That's right.
They are tired of the lies of Christianity, and all Christianity has fed us and led us into serving some false God that we're not supposed to serve.
That's right.
I mean, these are the instructions that were given
Hence
to
our
us.
long suffering,
Oh.
our demise,
Oh,
and
my
everything
goodness.
that we're going through till and still
Yeah.
this day.
Right.
All this day, and it's so true, Elder Freddie, that that He has given us laws, statutes, and commandments to go by, and those laws, statutes, commandments have also been revealed or been taught to Elder to us,
Right.
And that is the structure.
Right.
There isn't these multiple different avenues that I can, that you want to serve the God of Israel,
Right.
because you don't like one part of the law, or you don't like one part of the statute, so you want to go and find a sect or a group
Right.
out there that does that. That's
Right.
just willful disobedience.
It is. Our God has given us so much wisdom. Like, just think. I couldn't fathom the idea, just going back to that whole sacrifice thing. Like, if I did something wrong, I just couldn't imagine what I would do.
Right. And it would be brought to a priest, right? You would.
I couldn't imagine what
Yeah.
you would do today in 2020.
Yeah.
Like, how can you?
That's why I
keep
said
up-
they must have a farm in their backyard, right? Some pigs and some goats and some turtle doves. Who knows
And
what
we
they
know
got
that,
there?
and we know they don't,
geez.
because
Some
this is
bullocks.
black people, right?
Well,
It's black people.
will they be eating it?
We're talking about the children of
bonfires?
Israel, right?
Why sacrifice?
No, we know. We're dealing with the children of Jacob.
No, I'm very thankful.
we
to
could, serving the God of Israel is something that's meant to be done in joy. You're supposed to be happy to serve
Yeah.
your God.
Yeah.
And we are happy. I mean, we laugh about certain things, but you know what? Our God has intended for us to be happy, or else
Yeah.
He wouldn't give us that ability to laugh.
That's
I mean,
right.
He laughs as well,
No,
too.
we do, and we know when matters are supposed to be serious, and we take those matters very seriously.
Definitely, like the
You know,
instructions.
like the instructions, and being obedient.
Right.
And like you said, Elder Shadrach has taught us, both men and women alike, that we can go out there and teach everyone and be the authority of this book.
Indeed,
Right.
indeed.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I do believe that we're going to have to conclude for tonight. I do want to thank everyone for being with us. Hopefully, you would have been enjoyed our discussion. I do apologize for making it a little bit more of ourselves, but we do get into the scriptures, and it's a very wonderful thing when we do get into the scriptures, that we kind of just lose ourselves, and hopefully that you might have learned something. I know that I've learned tonight.
Yes, so
I've
might.
definitely learned.
Definitely.
And again, please like, share, make your comments, text us your questions and everything else. And you know what? We're here. We're the Israelite Nation Worldwide Ministries. And as I mentioned before, we are here to teach everyone. And we would like to have some feedback and interaction from everyone. Okay, and sorry, also please make sure you tune in tomorrow at 2 o'clock for our Saturday lesson. Again, that is going to be something, quite amazing,
I'm excited
I'm
for that.
excited.
Oh my gosh.
as always.
Yep.
It will be. So please join us. And with that, I want to tell everyone peace.
Peace.